Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 4023, probably. Yeah, 23. Today's date is April 26, 2026. It's been almost like a morning at 8:02 a.m. 8:02 a.m. Yeah. All right. Should we jump to the question? Let's go. All right. So, question is, how will reply avoid harassment? Okay. Sorry about I am kind of like a very much delaying all the things. Delay, not delay. It's like that, na. Ki it's a morning. I am sitting here and I'm kind of like a. I don't know. Sometimes na, I just like enjoy the peace. I don't know how to supposed to explain this thing, but you probably experience that. Ki when you are in such a surrounding where everything is actually calm and you just sit there and experience that calmness, you feel that calm inside of you, and that is what I'm feeling right now. It's morning at 8 a.m. and I am feel very calm, not just because of surrounding. Yeah, the heat is extremely, yeah, like you are actually seeing the background. Okay, yeah. The heat is actually extreme. The right now temperature is almost like today Google kind of like gave me warning that it's a heat wave, and it's a very extreme. Yeah. Okay. But still I am sitting on the shadow, and somewhat something kind of like a feel good. Okay. All right. Okay. So question, yeah, how do I supposed to avoid the harassment, replies harassment? Okay. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? I wanted to build a app called My Artifact. What exactly is this app? When you wrote the diary every single day, there is a problem. You can't able to be write diary the way that you wanted to. The reason is that there is a lot of constraint. The how fast that you think, you can't write that fast. Yeah, and that's why most of the kind of like a thoughts are just trapped inside of us because we cannot put in the words because delaying that and that. When you write the things, there is a lot of constraint, not about just speed, but as well as kind of like a spelling mistake and things and whatnot. So what if instead of writing a kind of like a something diary, instead of recording a diary, like a audio recording diary, I call them as a artifact. The stuff that you are kind of like a listening to right now is called My Artifact, episode number 4023. I am doing this thing every single day. I am doing this thing for almost like a 11 year. Because of this recording artifact, it add so much amount of value inside of me. The person that I am today, the person that I will become tomorrow, is all because of artifact, because it adds so much amount of value in myself. I realize that ki I have to be kind of like a share this technicality, share this process to the people. So that's why I'm kind of like a creating this app. In this application, it's kind of like a simply YouTube. In the YouTube platform, you could able to be upload your video, other people sees your video. It's kind of like a same. In my artifact app, people will record their artifact, other people will kind of like listen your artifact. The only one catch is that key there is a, I'm adding a privacy layer. That privacy layer is a kind of like a very much essential that user does not know who you are. Like my name is Saurabh Authare, but my my artifact handle would be Prozac 1943 or Jackson 47. So this is what kind of like a something username it pop up, so that it protect my real identity. Why am I giving this privacy? It's essential because of that कि when you record artifact, you will kind of talk like a artifact is a raw, it's unfiltered, it's very much authentic. Okay, yeah, it's original. Okay, and because of its raw, it's unfiltered, it's authentic, it's kind of like a things that na ki it's very like a not right at the same sometimes. Okay, yeah, because our thoughts are messy. Like our artifact is actually messy because our thoughts are messy too. Okay, yeah, imagine a kind of like a simply auditorium where thousands of people are kind of like a sit in front of you. You are kind of like a giving the speech. When you are in front of thousands of people and you are giving the speech, you follow the script. You follow the script. Okay, yeah, to kind of like not to make that mistake. This process called YouTube. But artifact is a kind of like a different. I'm kind of like a give you metaphorical example. In the auditorium, same people, same person who kind of like a giving the speech, but the one difference is that the particular person giving the speech is behind the curtain. Okay, yeah. So when there is a person who kind of like a behind the curtain, it kind of like a kind of like a things that na, he will express more because his identity is not on the line. Okay, he's expressed more regarding about everything. But there is also problem it cause when there is a person who's kind of like a behind the curtain. Obviously that particular person might gonna talk shit too. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing that particular curtain is kind of like adding the privacy so that people should supposed to be express their thoughts freely. That is true, but some people will kind of like utilize for wrong purposes. For that particular thing, I do have a judgmental things, I do have another protocol I will gonna mention, like I already mentioned in previous artifact episode. Okay, so this is my artifact app. Okay, yeah, it's a kind of like a social media platform that people should supposed to be kind of like a follow other people and things and that, but without knowing their name, who are they, what are they, just random username. All right, yeah. Now the question is that how do I supposed to protect the harassment of user and things and that. Okay, harassment, like this kind of like a word that you might not understand, they just understand little bit. Okay, yeah. um Basically it's this thing, let's just say you went to the college, you are first year, and there is a senior people who are kind of like a doing a ragging or things and that. Now when this actually happened, that senior people came and they are kind of like harassing you, okay, regarding about something. Okay, like, oh, okay, let's just say, okay, chal apni kapde nikal, chal salute maar and things and that. Like, it's a kind of like a typical example that I'm trying to provide to you. Okay, there are so many kind of like things. Harassment is a kind of like a thing that na ki a particular person is actually attacking another person, but kind of like a try not to kill them. Okay, yeah, like this particular person attacking this particular person, but not to kill that particular person, just to kind of like a annoyed. Okay, yeah, that is called harassment. In that harassment, some people are kind of like using bad words. Okay, things and that. Online harassment is a kind of like a somewhat something different. I already mentioned harassment in real life. Online harassment is kind of like a bit more different. Online harassment, obviously you don't know that particular person. Okay, yeah. Like the physical person is not actually exist, and you are also not exist too. So actually this is your digital avatar, this is your digital avatar. Okay, yeah. And this particular person harassing this particular person too. How? By kind of like simply giving them wrong reply or wrong comment or things and that. Okay, yeah. Kind of like you are, dude, you are wrong, like that is called kind of like a simply negative comments or kind of like a things and that. Okay, yeah. So that is called kind of like a simply harassment. Now first of all, why does people do that harassment? Well, it's because of that कि we all are different. I am different, you are different. Every human that you are seeing in your surrounding or somewhere on the different part of country is different person. What exactly it means? Like basically we all are kind of like a carrying the same species. I am the human, you are the human. The person who is from Cuba is also from the human. Okay, yeah. But our thoughts are very much different. And because of our thoughts are actually different, our perspective of looking at the world is actually different. Okay, yeah. And sometimes when our perspective does not match with another person point of perspective, okay, yeah, there is a two option that you have to adjust that ki this particular person different, so you just adjust that thing. Okay, yeah. But if you are not wanted to adjust, then you are started harassment. You are started doing things like you are something wrong or things and that and that and that and that. Okay. So basically this thing harassment is a kind of like a byproduct of kind of like a people who are kind of like a bit more different, uh, different demographic perspective, different thought process, different things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So different people have different opinion regarding about world, different perspective regarding about world. And when their perspective does not match with the another point of perspective, they try to do kind of like a correct them or try to do kind of like a things and that and that. Okay, yeah. Now correct them or kind of like a point out them, that is called criticism. There is a first layer. Okay, yeah. But some people are went extreme. Okay, some people are kind of like a do that in much more higher level. Like basically is this thing that key you are doing something really wrong, so things and that and that. By the way, the world are actually changing right now. Okay, yeah. People are understanding that key okay, this is right, this is wrong. Okay, yeah. But still harassment still exists. It's not because of the kind of like something the people, but something very different. What's that? I'm gonna kind of like a real life example. Okay, yeah. There is a kind of like a something Instagram influencer name Muskaria. I'm not really sure the Muskar. Like he's an Indian influencer, by the way. Okay, she's a female. Okay, yeah, and she's an influencer. She can like and basically she do something very different. Okay, different kind of like a content. What's a different kind of like a content? I don't know, is it wrong or right? But yeah, let's just I'm trying to explain. Okay, so she she show a lot of her body part to promote the product. Okay, yeah, like she show her boobs, not fully boobs. Okay, yeah, but she kind of like a show her cleavage as much as so that people should supposed to be look at her and things and that and that. And in between she kind of like a add that product displacement towards there close to her chest area, so that kind of like things. Okay, yeah. Why does she do that? uh, like a like a social media is a kind of like a bit more trap. When you are do something wrong and people are liking it, then you are more likely to do that thing wrong again and again, because social media is actually kept you to kind of like a do that thing again. Because when people like you are actually earning money. So when you are earning money, then you are responsible to do things even more. So yeah, this kind of like a add a layer of layer. Okay, whatever. Okay, yeah. Is it like like that's a kind of like a wrong thing about the social media, right? No, it's not. Social media is not wrong thing. Probably, yeah, somewhat something, because Instagram algorithm actually focus on kind of like a kept the user on their platform. So even if the kind of like a somebody another kind of like a user who kind of like a posting something kind of like a nude photo or things and that, and because of her nude photo some people are kind of like a kept on their platform for longer period of time. People are kind of like a stop scrolling and looking at her and things and that. Instagram earn revenue from that. Okay, yeah. So that's why Instagram is kind of like a, yeah, whatever. But my platform is not Instagram platform. Whatever. Okay, I'm trying to kind of like explain the scenario. Okay, so she kind of like a do this stuff. Okay, Is it wrong? Is it right? I'm not really sure. I am not the particular person who judge. Okay, yeah. But my intention, my thought process, letting me say this thing, this is wrong. Like, you are using your body parts to promote the kind of like a product. You are doing something, sexual activity to promote something product. Okay, yeah, which is wrong. Yeah, which is wrong. Okay, which is wrong. Okay, so basically it's this thing that ki when she does that and when she continue doing it, that she are attracting kind of like a such a people who are kind of like a harassment all the time. So like a go to her profile, take any kind of like a photo, in the comment section people are just talking about shit, literally talking about shit. Let me kind of like give you the perspective of human, how does human think. Okay, so let's just say human behavior is not a kind of like a something a stagnant, it's a relative. Example, when you see a kind of like a road which is very messy. Okay, yeah, like there is a kind of like a lot of garbages on the side of the road. The road quality is not really good. The everything is kind of like a messy. Okay, yeah. So you are tends to like a, you have to tends to make that road even more wrong or even more polluted. Why? Because this road is already polluted. Okay, road is not kind of like a sense at all. Let's take a lake. Okay, let's take a small lake. Okay, yeah, a small lake where kind of like the lake is covered by spoiled water. So much amount of garbage are kind of like over there. The smell is terrible. The everything is really not right. Okay, yeah. So because of this is a kind of like a lake, and this is another lake which is a very posh, very clear, blue water, surrounding greens and things. There is no garbage at all at all. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing: our mind is a kind of like somebody acted very differently. Let's just say is this thing. This is a polluted lake. This is a polluted lake. So I would like to create more pollution over there, or maybe I would kind of like throw my garbages over that lake. Why is that? Because of that, ki this is already a spoiled area, na. If I add another my spoiled, if I put my garbage over there, what could wrong thing will gonna happen? It does not. Okay, why? Because it's a already wrong thing. It's already kind of like a pop, polluted kind of like a lake. So I would put my throw my kind of like a garbage over there and things and that because yeah, it's already polluted. Okay, yeah, it doesn't really make me feel wrong. But if there is a kind of like a posh kind of like a lake, even if I have a garbage, I would not gonna throw garbage over there because it's already posh. Okay, yeah. Same example actually happened in kind of like a trains. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about in Indian context, Indian train. Some train are really like a fuck. Okay, yeah, so in that really fuck means the smell is terrible, everything is kind of like somebody not right, everything possible. Okay, yeah. So because of this train is already wrong, you are kind of like likely to do more kind of like do more, even more bad stuff over there, even more kind of like things wrong over there. You might kind of like something that key, yeah, like your behavior has to change. But when you are in the posh area, you when you are in posh train, you are try to not to do that stuff. Okay, yeah. This is what kind of like somebody human mind. Okay, same thing happening social media platform too. When such a creator who is a kind of like a creating a content regarding about financial, or maybe something that a kind of like somebody using a comedy or humor to promote the product, it's a really good atmosphere. But when there's such a creator who kind of like a using our body parts to kind of like a simply promoting the product and things on that, and that is wrong. That is wrong. So our mind is kind of like a things that ki where do I supposed to be throw my trash? What is exactly my trash? Like a harassment. Okay, yeah, like basically kind of like a saying something stupid shit. Okay, yeah, I would not gonna say stupid shit to that particular influencer. Why? Because this particular influencer is kind of like a doing something right. She is kind of like a using humor to promote the product. She is using kind of like a skills to promote the product. But she is a kind of like a doing something wrong because she is kind of like a using her body parts to promote the product. So this is wrong. So I likely to more throw my trash over there, throw my harassment over there. Okay. So that's why the OnlyFan models or any kind of like some women who kind of like some doing this such a things, they will get all the negative comments and things and that and that. Okay. This is what kind of like a human psychology, right? Yeah. So that's why human are kind of like somebody try to do that harassment. Do you understand the concept of harassment and where does human kind of like do that thing? It's kind of like the same. All right, yeah. Now let's talk about my application. Okay, so my artifact is that key usually you can't comment. You can't comment. You 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 voice comment. Okay, yeah. If you like basically you kind of like a listening someone artifact and you wanted to kind of like a comment and things and that you just press the whole button and kind of like a you talk that key you are doing something wrong and things and that. Okay, first of all let me kind of like tell you why am I kind of like a changing from typing to recording. Okay, basically is this thing when you type words you are more likely to type wrong words very easily. Example, Benchod, Mother Shod, Laudea, Chut Maricha, Hepria. Like these are kind of like a words we could type more very easily. Why? Because we just have to do this. Okay, yeah. And even if we don't really kind of like understand, we just do this. But when we kind of like record the audio, when we record the audio comment is a kind of like a bit more personal. Okay, yeah. Like basically is this thing, it's a kind of like a thing, na? When we are throwing the trash. So let's just say a text is a kind of like a throwing all the trash at just, yeah. But voice comment is a kind of like a somebody is this thing, let you do compile all this trash in plastic bag and then you throw the trash. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like that. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, you can do the kind of like a harassment, but when you do the voice comment, in the voice comment it kind of like a bit more like a people kind of like a feel like that key like a basically is this thing, usually people are not really kind of like a somebody wanted to harassment each other. Okay, yeah. But still some people are kind of like a things and that when you do the voice comment you understand what is actually the gravity of your words. Okay, yeah. Let's just say a particular person who kind of like a record artifact regarding about he kind of like a fuck two girl at the same time. Okay, I'm kind of like using very wrong scenario. Okay, so this particular person record the artifact regarding about he fuck two girl at the same time. Now basically you have to do a comment because dude what the fuck is this thing, so you are kind of like a say dude what the fuck is that, how you supposed to do this thing. Okay, and that. Okay, so basically do you understand this thing, when you voice comment you are using very less harmful word, not stopping harmful word, you are less using harmful word to kind of like do the comment and things and that. It's a kind of like a things that na ki text comment is bit more violence but voice comment is little less violence. Like it's a kind of like over there like a text comment is kind of like a 10 out of 10 violent, but voice comment is kind of like a simply 10 out of maybe 7 or 6 violence. Okay, yeah, this is what kind of like a things. Okay, yeah. It add that kind of like a somebody is this thing that key like basically is this thing now let me kind of like give you another context. Okay, yeah. When we throw someone gali means like that like a shiva or things and that. I don't tease somebody. When we try to tease somebody, tease is a it's not really, I don't know understand, I don't have English word for that. In Hindi we actually says gali, मैं किसी को गाली दे देता हूँ. Okay, yeah. So when we said gali to somebody, okay, yeah, we likely to more give the gali on text, but we give the very less gali through our words because of we understand the context. Everyone will gonna say behan chod, mother chod. Okay, yeah. But no one will gonna say in Indian context point of perspective, no one will gonna say yeah my chipudi. Like literally I'm saying this word and I'm still kind of like a feel like dude, what the fuck did I say in the artifact? Okay, do you understand? This is kind of like a very wrong comment. Okay, yeah. Because of when I said this thing, I do feel wrong, even if the artifact I'm trying to explain to you, but this word I don't want to think it's a very personal, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, na, ki in the when we kind of like do the voice comment, we are not using such a word that kind of like a feels very terrible. But in the text comment, we can do this thing. Yeah, my okay, it's like that. Okay, yeah, because in the text it doesn't feel like that connect. Okay, but when you like a word say, you feel like that. Okay, you are actually harassment. So yeah, that's why. So that's one kind of like a voice comment. So voice comment is little less harassment than text comment. Okay, get it? Now another thing. I already mentioned regarding about how my artifact kind of like a judge. Okay, yeah. So I will not gonna talk about that. I will have entire judgment regarding about how the artifact actually judge and things and that. And that I already mentioned over there. I will gonna directly talk about the comment. Okay, how this actually happened in my application. So basically, you kind of like a listen someone artifact that this particular person fucked two girl at the same time. Okay, and he kind of like mentioned the story about this happened, this happened, this happened, that's it, this happened. Now his perspective is a kind of like a way different than your point of perspective. Okay, yeah. And you really wanted to criticize and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So basically, you are kind of like a say, dude, what the fuck that you did and things and that. And by the way, this example is not exactly right, but let's just say, okay, I'm trying to kind of like a said this thing, the voice comment and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. Because of voice comment, it's kind of like a little bit of mellow. Okay, yeah. Now, obviously, some artifacts are meant to be criticized. Okay, huh? Because this particular person fucked two girl at the same time. So obviously, this artifact episode should supposed to be criticized. That is very much essential. But what if some people who are kind of like a recording artifact regarding about economics or self-development or things and that and that? Okay, huh? In that thing, people are kind of like a doing the mean comment and things and that mean voice comment. So how do I supposed to prevent? First of all is that the user means like the people who actually record, the people who kind of like have that artifact episode and people are kind of like a commenting on his artifact. He will kind of like a decide that he does this comment is kind of like a matter to me or not. The handler, the artifact handler whose artifact is that will belong to, he will decide that block that user or hide that user or kind of like a somebody is this thing. It's kind of like a depend on him. But there is also another thing. Okay, yeah, is that key probably is this thing in the voice comment harassment happened less. Okay, okay, is it because of voice comment? Yes, but that is also another perspective. Let me kind of like give you, let's just say you open this Instagram platform, this Muskaria handle. You kind of like open the post, you put the comment, you went to the comment box, comment section. In the comment section, filled with lot of harassment words and things and that. Because you are seeing, you are reading, and because of you are reading this thing, you are more likely towards to kind of like a type more harassment word because all of the people are kind of like putting the harassment word, so you are also putting the harassment word. Okay, yeah. So basically, how do you know that? Because you read the previous comment now. Okay, yeah. But in the voice recording, if you wanted to consume every comment, then you have to read that comment. It takes time. Okay, it takes time. Okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing: when you read the comment would be just maybe 2-3 sentence. You kind of like read it very fast. But when you listen the comment, it takes effort. It really required add effort. Okay, yeah. So let me kind of like understanding the context. This Muskaria influencer on Instagram platform, his comment box is actually on the text written. Okay, yeah. So you are more likely towards kind of like a give the harassment more easily because you read the previous content, the previous comment, and it add that comment to kind of like a somebody that comment, people's comment, it kind of like influence you to even more harassment and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. But when you do the artifact, when you kind of like see the people who are kind of like doing the comment, a voice comment, when you wanted to consume that comment, You have to read, you have to listen that na. You have to play the head and kind of like a said, okay, what that particular person says, what that particular person says, what that particular person says, what that particular person says. Okay, yeah. What I'm saying, it add effort. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, when harassment has to be like people who kind of like giving the harassment, they are very coward people and they don't want to wait. Okay, yeah. So if the harassment is a kind of like a have very much easy to execute, people are execute harassment very easily. But it is very, if the harassment takes effort to do that thing, people are more likely less do the harassment. Okay, yeah. This is what it is. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a thing that na ki you have to basically in this particular voice comment, you have to listen all the comment na, then you do the kind of like a things. It add effort, it add effort, like basically you are kind of like a listening person artifact entirely, then you could kind of like a listening other comment. Okay, yeah. And then you type the comment. It adds so much amount of effort to do that thing. And why is that thing, why are you kind of like doing this thing, instead of you are kind of like focusing your artifact to kind of like things, why are you kind of like simply things recording someone send comment and things and that. So basically what I'm trying to tell you, in this particular process, people will not gonna do harassment, huh? But particular person who kind of like a record artifact very well, okay, very right, it add another perspective, his perspective is matched with your perspective, then you are kind of like not looking other people comment and you are directly says, dude, your artifact is really good, really amazing, and it does add value in myself. Like the world that I'm kind of like seeing is kind of like a very differently when I heard your comment, when I heard your kind of like artifact. Really good job, just keep doing your work, dude, like you really amazing. So basically a positive comment happen very faster than mean comment in video, in voice artifact, in voice comment. Okay, in text comment things will happen. Okay, also another thing, you can't comment. Okay, let me tell you one thing. You, how, you have to listen the entire artifact, then you have, then that comment icon is actually available, then you comment. It's not really that you see in the artifact and just jump right into the comment. No, you have to listen the entire artifact, then that comment button is actually, oh hello, when that kind of like assembly, the comment icon is actually available, and then you kind of like do the comment. Okay, you cannot do the voice comment like a until you unless read the entire artifact. All right, so this is how I kind of like control the harassment in my application. All right, this is it. Thank you.